So it's the year end, and I figured I wanted to do a top 10 list of Marvel and DC comics. I already did top 10 Image comics. So with saying that, we're going to pick 10 series that I really enjoy. Now, I didn't get to read every Marvel series. There are a lot. And I also am just choosing ones that I've read. And I'm also only focusing on ones that pretty much have their paperback out or are about to at the end of December or January, that at least you get the first arc. I'm not going to do ones that have just began, like Astonishing X-Men stuff. That graphic novel doesn't even come out till February. People are still reading it. So I'm not going to count that. That might be for next year. But there are other series that have just began that are getting a lot of praise that I'm not going to put on here because it's too early or I haven't read it yet. If there's a first arc and the graphic novel's coming out before the end of this year, add it to your list. But this is my list. Check out these titles and let's get to it. Coming at number 10 is Thanos. Probably the biggest surprise for me was this comic. While not perfect and still has the Mad Titan just going around ruthlessly killing people, it does have a lot of underlying themes of desperation. Not just from the Mad Titan himself, who is deathly ill, but the ones who are trying to go after the Mad Titan. Well, Thanos is on a quest to find the cure for his cancer-like disease. His son and other fellow members who have crossed paths with the Mad Titan decide it's finally time to take the beast down. It's really a compelling look at survival from a monster like Thanos. Plus, the dude has some of the sickest burns out there, and it's definitely a title I recommend just because it's different than pretty much anything on this list. Coming at number 9 is Sam Wilson, Captain America. Funny enough, in 2016, this was probably on my most disappointing or worst list. I did not like the first arc or the second, and the third was just okay. However, in 2017, we actually get into Sam's mind for more of his points of view, and we also get Rage, who's a great counterpoint to the perspective of Sam on the current issue. The later half of Sam's run deals with the aftermath of Civil War II, which has a very powerful moment, and then add in the fact that we also deal with police brutality, which is actually a really cool perspective in the comic world. And also we get the whole thing of news just twisting words and making people's perspectives change just based on watching the news. I just really enjoyed it, and Sam really comes into his own by the end, which I actually really enjoyed, and I feel like he made a good decision by the end, and it becomes his own man again, and that to me was just a really enjoyable run. So yep, Sam Wilson, Captain America, another surprise. Went from a series I disliked so much to actually becoming one I really enjoyed. Coming at number 8 is XMen Gold, and this was pretty damn enjoyable for me so far. It feels like the writer is trying to continue the work of maybe like the end of the Ultimate X-Men line. It really has more of like this adventurous feel. While sometimes the missions or storylines are borderline like X-Men the cartoon, which I know a lot of people hold very high regard, to me it's kind of like that, like it all wraps up very quickly and everything. But for me, the best storylines are the look into like the deeper storylines, like the systematic racism against mutants, and also again the news perspective and how it twists the mutants' names and words. I think all that is really fun, and it just has a really good cast, a great team, and you have Kitty leading the charge again, which is always a big positive for me. Coming in at number 7 is Moon Knight. What a little twisted, fucked up tale. Well, you should be checking out Moonlight and you're thinking, who's Moon Knight? Well, he's like Batman, except he wears all white so that you can see him coming when he bashes your fucking skull in. He's insane. However, this Moon Knight series is far more psychological, and you're really trying to peer into the mind of a hero while going on this kind of like trippy adventure. While not always clicking for me, is always entertaining. Jeff Lemire knows how to make you care about a character. Even if you don't understand him or even like him, you kind of just need to know more about him, and that series does this pretty much flawlessly. Coming in at number 6 is Infamous Iron Man. This might be my favorite Iron Man related story I probably ever read, or at least close up there. What happens when Doom becomes good? Well, after Tony goes out of commission after the events of Civil War II, Doom decides, I'm going to take up the mantle of Iron Man. So we have Infamous Iron Man, and then we have Ironheart, which is Riri. And this is actually, to me, a great series because you get into the mind of Doom. You get to see the type of personality that he is and who he is, and what he can actually do with the power when he's trying to help people. It's kind of just a really nice twist. I enjoyed the art style. It's very weird, but actually kind of cool, and it works well with the magic in this series. And the dialogue is bouncy and fun. The ending was a little bit to be desired, but the journey to it was always entertaining for me, and I just really enjoyed how different it was. Coming in at number 5 is Steve Rogers' Captain America. Well, not my favorite run of Cap. That would probably be still Ed Brubaker's by a mile. Nobody's ever captured that for me. But it might be my second, or at least my third. The look into a man with the ideals of Steve Rogers, but on the side of Hydra, is just fascinating for me. I always love stories like this where you kind of get to maybe understand, or not really understand, but see heroes like Steve Rogers, or when Superman, they go onto the side of evil. It's just, to me, interesting. I just love it. The betrayal and the plotting of our heroes is both intriguing and terrifying, and just sets up Secret Empire in a lot of great ways. Now, I haven't personally read Secret Empire throughout the whole thing, so I don't know if the payoff is really worth it, but I thought the plotting up to it was really well crafted. So I enjoyed Steve Rogers for what it was, and I thought it was a fascinating look into the view of a man who we trust and adore, but when his morals or his goals are obviously opposite of ours, what do we do? I really like that. Coming in at number 4 is Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows. Spider-Man is one of my favorite heroes of all time. Sadly, his 2 main series have just been good, the Miles series, or just bleh, Peter series, but Renew Your Vows is just what the doctor ordered for me. Sprawling out of the what if storylines from the Secret Wars, Peter and MJ are already married, and they have a kid who is just starting to get her powers. When they all have to team up and become a family of basically web warriors, it's really cute, it's charming, it's family themes, and uniting to be the best you can be, while also dealing with some real life issues like, you know, bills that you have to pay, discipline, everyday life shit. I think it just does it all really well of combining all those elements, but also keeping the fun and humor that we want from a Spider-Man series. Coming in at number 3 is Daredevil, and what a year for the man in black. Well, yeah, he's still wearing that black uniform instead of his red. Hopefully we're getting that back soon, which I think we are in Legacy. I have not read Legacy, but it looks like we do. Anyway, this year started off Daredevil in the right path with this crazed fucking murderer who paints pictures with bodies, to another major loss, to finding out what actually happened and made everyone forget about Daredevil's identity, and even more, Daredevil has been on a roll. Fans of watching Matt's internal struggles will be delighted to hear that the series has only gotten stronger. While the start of it from the 2016 was good, it just was nothing special, let's be honest. But Soul has crafted Matt into one very engaging lead who deals with so many issues and somehow juggles it all. If he keeps this up, we're talking about heading into the Bendis or Brubaker territory by the end of the series, and that makes me excited. Alright, number 2 is Wolverine. It's no secret I love Laura. She is by far my favorite X-Men related character probably. There's a lot of good ones, but she just is the best. She's just strong and badass and smart and funny, and I just love her. And when she became the Wolverine, like most times, there was a lot of backlash. However, if anyone in the universe deserves to be passed down the mantle of Wolverine, it was her. And she's decided to make it her own, and boy did she. Between finishing up the issues in the early 2017 with the Civil War tie-in, which was really good to see, to the Enemy Estate 2, where we get to see her finally kind of mentally break down, it's really fascinating. And the more that Tom Taylor gives us, the more and better her character development becomes every year. Laura, along with Gabby, that's our little clone, and Jonathan the Wolverine, it's just, yes, and he's actually a Wolverine, which is insane. It's just a wonderful story of really doing themes like hope and family and survival and finding your place, while also brutal at times because, well, she is the Wolverine, but it also has these wonderful heartfelt moments. It's like just a perfect blend of why it remains so high on my reading list, is because it just combines it all flawlessly pretty much, and it makes Laura come into her own as one of the coolest Wolverine type characters ever, or the Wolverine. So I really enjoyed this. And coming in at number 1 is Nova Resurrection. Now, Nova is a series I have always enjoyed, and it was kind of a bumpy ride along the way. However, the best is by far Resurrection. It's a 7-issue arc that involves Sam, and Richard. Richard is the original Nova, and they're teaming up. It's just a really great, self-contained story about family and loss, finding one's place in the universe. Its comedic timing is perfect. It's just going to put a smile on your face the entire time you're reading it. It was just so delightful. And it also has this emotional bits that really hit hard if you followed Sam or Richard through their journeys, especially some callbacks to Richard's time as Nova. It also contains some of my favorite art too. It's both like stylish, but it's really easy to follow and looks great. Overall, Nova came in like a wrecking ball. After a couple of okay arcs, it really kicked up for this 7 issue. I am really sad it only lasted 7 issues, as I would have read another fucking 7, 20, 50 issues of this. But what we got is pretty much perfect in my opinion, and a good send-off to Nova if we're not going to get Nova series for a while. So that deserves my #1 spot. All right, we made it, guys. 10 comics. These are all 10 comic series that I really suggest reading. I love them all. I really hope that you do enjoy most of these. If not, I would love to see your list of top 10. You know, I hear a lot of people say Marvel has no good comics. I totally disagree. I enjoyed all of these quite a bit, but I'm always looking for more. And yeah, everybody have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed.